to another episode of Ill Communication. Today we are at Shambhala Music Festival and I am joined by Bruce, aka AMB or AMB, depending on who you ask. And he's a very, very talented producer whose music has brought him all around the world.
Oh, thank you.
And you know, worked with Chi Recordings especially, which is a very, very fine label out of Budapest. Kevin, Fine Cut Bodies, heavily involved there, and they make a lot of really high-end, kind of glitchy, melodic, awesome music that you should definitely get to know if you don't already. Thanks so much for joining us here.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, nice to meet you, dude.
Yeah, so Shambhala, is this your first one?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, first time at Shambhala, first time in Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So how's your experience been so far?
Shit. Obviously loving it, man. It's so good. It's I got here like just a few days ago, really. I've been on tour for 5 weeks now, but I spend most of the time in the US, and I find Canada to be people like with a lot of good sense of humor, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Like really good people for sure. And this Shambhala is like, you know, well deserved that it's one of the best festivals in the world.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
For sure. Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like, you know, pretty much my home festival. I've been coming here
you come here like
11
every year,
years,
right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's really like,
sure.
Yeah, I love it, man. It wouldn't be the same. It's also every year it's my birthday here, so it's very.
It's your birthday now?
It was my birthday yesterday.
Hey, dude. Fucking happy birthday.
Thanks. Yeah, it was really fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really dig this festival. I think it's.
How old are you?
Cut above. I'm 27 again.
Oh.
27 again. Yeah.
I was gonna say something like that.
yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Cool. So when you play at a festival like this, what how do you prepare? Because I know I've seen you a few times, and I noticed your sets. It's not like there's like a boilerplate sound.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, sometimes I do a bit more preparation. Sometimes I'm kind of like I just go with the flow, like kind of like to feel the vibe of the night. I like to arrive at a festival a few hours before to see what kind of vibe is really going on. Like yesterday, for example, I had no idea what to play. So even the first track, I spent ages finding it. And then after that, I didn't have any playlist ready or anything prepared. And then after that, it was easy. But the first one was like maybe 10 minutes to find. So yeah, I usually just kind of go with the flow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So some of the material that you've been playing, you've recently put out a new EP on Gravitas. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. I got back from my previous tour in April from the US, and I spent 3 months back in the studio at home, teaching and being in the studio. So those two things pretty much, and came up with this 5-track EP that. I just really, with that EP, I didn't really want to commit to anything. I just wanted to release whatever I felt was right to release. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to put out whatever I had inside me. And so it's kind of diverse, I think. It's got like sort of 95 BPM, sort of festival kind of music, and also pretty chill, future bassy kind of stuff. But it's really what comes, I think, most natural to me, like down-tempo-y, kind of comes from my heart.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I'm moved.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. So it's just me. I didn't really have a goal, like an aim. I didn't have any sort of expectation. I just really sat down and made some music, and that's what came.
Cool. So can you tell us a little bit about like what the kind of creative vision behind your AMB project is? Because I mean, you've made such a diverse array of music as AMB. You know, a lot of really nice techno as well as down tempo, and it has like there's a real signature to it. Do you have like a manifesto of sorts, or is it just kind of comes out that way? Or,
well, basically, there's a couple of things I really like to keep in mind. One is to have a character always. So I just don't want to make a track for just the sake of it. I just don't want to make a clone, a DJ tool that can be played at a gig and then people might really like it, but they won't be able to remember it the next day. I want to have a character, so that's like one of the aims that I really sort of keep in mind. And the other thing is I kind of like to excite, it might sound a little cheesy, but I kind of I like to excite the brain as much as the soul. Do you know what I mean by that? Kind of like have a good vibe as well as be intelligent at the same time, which I'm not. So kind of like a mission for sure for me. Yeah.
Sweet.
Those things.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. How about over the years? You know, you've made a lot of different records. Is there any? You know, do you have any favorites from your own catalog?
Wow. Okay. Nothing really, like springs to mind. I kind of like. To be honest, I know that a lot of people will not like listening back to your music. Do you like listening to your own music?
Not really.
Yeah, well, I do for some reason, because it's it's one of those things it's like writing a journal, like a diary,
Yeah.
That's what's happening to you at that particular time, So I'm kind of like, I really like to listen to stuff that I made from back 10 years ago, for example, and go like, oh right, that's interesting. Yeah, I can sort of remember how it felt like to be 10 years ago, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really have like a particular favorite that I could, name, but
I really like that one, Theory. That one really made the rounds in the festival circuit.
Oh, right.
Like 2008, 2009.
Exactly. That's when I came, I think, for the first time to the US in 2005, and I was totally blown away by San Francisco, and I played Symbiosis, and I was like, just got back home, and I really wanted to make something that was similar to what I heard, and so that was Theory.
Yeah. That tune was that got a lot of action, like those beautiful sunrise sets. I remember I used to play it a lot.
Yeah, I should play it actually. I totally forgot about that tune, to be honest.
I played it at Shambhala actually. Some morning sets. I used to do mornings in Fractal Forest. I do these like 3-4 hour morning sets for like
3-4 hours.
Yeah,
man.
it was pretty.
Oh my goodness,
they're pretty full on. But it's really a lot of fun. But yeah, Theory definitely made it in there.
Wow.
So can you tell us a little bit about your workflow in the studio, like how you actually approach, like structurally, what steps you take, what order are they?
The thing is really that with my production, my workflow is I very often like to find new ways of making things. So I like to be inspired and not just have I find that often, obviously, you want to cut as many corners as you can when you produce, and you want to come up with the quickest way of following your ideas. But when it comes to being in the studio, to me, it's like I like to feel excited and not just being in a. Sometimes I feel that if you do everything always the same way, you kind of get stuck in a rut kind of thing, So very often I will start making a track using the machine, for example, a Native Instruments machine, and often it will be Logic, and sometimes it will be Ableton Live. I like mixing up DAWs as well. I like mixing up stuff. Like one time I remember I just made this little loop, this groove that was playing in a loop in Ableton, and with my iPhone, I recorded it being played in the living room through my MacBook speakers, and so that sort of, do you know what I mean? Like it was playing in the living room on the MacBook, and I recorded it on through my iPhone.
Yeah, so it sounded completely different, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to have something that inspires me, but that's pretty vague an answer. So I can say that most often I will like to come up with a hook, with a character first, and not the beats, not anything. I'd like to have something that people might remember and build everything around it. I wouldn't say that it always works. Sometimes it just really what I have to do is just start making the beats first, and then the bass around it, and then the melodies. I think it's pretty much with me. It's kind of, it varies pretty often,
cool.
What about you, by the way? Just out of interest.
Yeah, I usually like to have.
Because I know you have like a very particular methods. Right?
Well, I do, but yeah, I do like to monkey wrench the works, you know, to really, you know, make the system different from time to time.
Yeah,
But yeah, I usually will have at least one thing that I'm doing that's different, and yeah, I really like. I don't even start thinking about arranging until I have at least one thing that makes me go like,
no,
wow, that's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah, no, totally. That said, I will definitely want to have the ammunition, right? First, to say like, I've got the instruments, I've got the whole loop going, I've got at least one pattern and another pattern, and that is usually the time when I go like, I start laying out the structure as well. I heard that you do, if you, there's something that I just heard somewhere that you do that kind of stuff, that when you start making a track and it doesn't kind of want to come together that much, then you break it down to parts and they're like, you know.
Yeah, put them in the library for later, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so then you don't
I wish I did that.
Yeah, I'll go back through my old project folders too and render stems out of them, or you know. But yeah, I like to have like a big pool of parts from my other tracks, because usually, even if you take a part that is quite recognizable, by the time you've tweaked it and fit it into the new track, it's usually quite different. You know?
Of course,
it just has, and it helps make your tracks sound more like you know, when you have these like signature sounds.
Oh, absolutely,
that people can kind of latch onto and remember. Because people always want something that's like a little bit familiar but yet new at the same time, you know.
Course.
And I find
fresh, but then again, it's you.
Yeah. So I find that really helps. I like to like when I'm making my loop, I'll you know, I'll get like, because one problem that I find a lot of people have is they'll make their ideas, they'll start with idea A, and then idea A leads to idea B leads to idea C leads to idea D, and then they try and put idea D and idea A together and they don't go. Right? Whereas I like to have one kind of parent idea that all of the other sub-ideas relate to. Usually it'll be a chord progression or something else that establishes like the main kind of hook, and then when that element is removed, all the other children elements will all still match, you know, because they're referring to the same kind of framework.
That said, I usually like to have, when it comes to structure, I really aim for something that introduces the main idea in the first half, and then probably have a breakdown somewhere halfway through, and then bring in something after the breakdown that is different.
Yeah, like a real departure,
something,
like a bridge.
Something that's new, something that you didn't really expect, you didn't see it coming, but really it's kind of still a logical kind of move to where it started.
Yeah.
From, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely a difficult one to pull for sure, but yeah.
And I find it's really satisfying too when you hear like a few different hooks alone without knowing that they interlock, and then bringing them together at the end where they like interlock. It's
that's like, so cool, man.
Kind of like, you know,
so they like
writing
complement
two
each other.
subplots in an episode of a story, and then they come together at the end, kind of thing.
Like having like pattern A at the beginning, and then bringing in pattern B on its own in the breakdown, and then adding them together like after the breakdown.
I love that.
That's like they work together well. Yeah, that's
I find
really
that's
cool.
a very kind of satisfying way to bring the tracks to a conclusion.
Sure.
So, you know, I'm sure you know, especially as an educator, you've learned a lot of different things that are, you know, that you impart to people. Is there any piece of advice that you would give your younger self as a fledgling musician? Any of those like aha moments that you would like?
Seriously, the best piece of advice that I ever heard was in one interview with Eamon Tobin. So it's not really mine, but I'm kind of like passing it on because it's the best piece of advice that I ever heard. And it is just really don't listen to anyone. Just really come up with, believe in your own stuff and keep doing that, and just don't give a shit about anything. And if you keep doing that, you should succeed at one point. Yeah, that's what I feel. Just don't listen to anyone.
That's actually very good advice.
Yeah, I like it a lot. When I heard it for the first time, I was like, yes, exactly. That's totally my thinking. I mean, no, it's something that I have to remind myself as well. So because I kind of like, I tend to pay attention to what's trendy, what really people want to hear from me, what people expect from me. I keep
it is a balancing act too.
Going back to this thing, like, just don't give a shit. I really believe in if you do what's really inside you. I mean, the main point of this really is if you've got something to tell in the first place. It doesn't matter if it's music. If you've got anything like a story that you want to tell, you know, and you should listen to that story that's in there rather than going, I should make trap or I should make that genre or that genre. That would be, I think, if you make what your own, if you put out your own sound, I think people will resonate to that.
And it's also, it sounds less dated as time goes on. It sounds less dated, you know?
Oh, yeah,
you listen to a guy like Bill Bless or Tipper, you can play their tracks from 10 years ago and they sound just as good as the tracks that they've made just like last week, you know? I find that really...
I played Franco Buddy's track yesterday. That was one of his tracks that was from maybe 10 years ago. Oh, yeah, exactly 10 years ago. And it was really awesome.
He's a fantastic producer. He really is good. So can you tell us a little bit about like you know, coming up in Budapest and, you know, like the what was it, Cinescape or Cinescope parties where you used to do
Cinetrip?
Yeah, Cinetrip. Yeah. Tell us some stories from the good old days in Budapest.
Well, I mean, you know, that back in the day, really no one, I think, knew what they were doing back in Budapest. We like launched a label with one of my friends, Naga, and me in 2000, and it was called Chi Recordings, and we launched that label because no reason really, because we felt that we should do something, and it felt like the logical move, but we didn't have any idea. It was such a haze really. And then, to be fair, Franco Buddies joined us a year later, and then he took on the role of like leading the label and being sort of the label head, and he took it from there. But I mean, there were like lots of amazing stories. Like Cinetrip was this.
I used to see the photos and be like, oh my god.
Definitely. We would have this, like, there was one time, for example, this workshop thing that the guys at Cinetrip organized this workshop that we spent like a week together somewhere in the country in Hungary, and so they brought Richard there.
Which Richard? Richard Devine?
Richard there. I think he's. Oh, hang on. I can't remember now what acting.
Why don't you rewind and tell them what Cinetrip is, though?
Okay, yeah, Cinetrip. What is Cinetrip? I mean, hang on. I'm not sure I know. Hang on. Okay, so Cinetrip is basically this party organizer crew. They threw a lot of parties back from the year probably 2000 to 2008. They were really famous for bringing amazing acts like Chemical Brothers and Propeller Heads and Tipper, and we had like Tipper over like many times, and Chris Carter and Elite Force, and there was at one time they threw this workshop together where basically we were dropped all together in the country in Hungary, on the countryside somewhere, spend 1 week together and work on tunes with Chris Carter, Tipper. We remixed Tipper with Franco Buddies. Tipper remixed Rasta, which is one of our friends. And
I remember Rasta.
Do you remember him?
Wicked, man.
So amazing, right?
Really is.
Totally.
Really, really good.
Yeah, so that was like it was a fantastic time, you know, like drinking a lot of palinka, which is the Hungarian national drink.
Nice.
Playing a lot of table tennis, ping pong, and making a lot of music. That was awesome.
Sick.
And then we had this sort of big coming together at the end. There was this big point of it where there was this big event where we all played together. So I think at one point we had Rasta, Franco Buddies, Tipper, Chris Carter, and me on stage, just doing a live act.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. And even we had like with Chi Recordings, we had amazing moments. Like at one point, like Bass Nectar, for example, sent us demos, and he was like, he sent us an email, and actually maybe it was like an actual like letter in the post, because I remember back in the day, he definitely sent us CDs. So anyway, so Lorian Bassnectar sent us this letter saying that he really wants to release with us and just us, and we hadn't really heard of him before, and for some reason it just didn't happen. But yeah, now look where he is now at the moment. So yeah, there were amazing moments for sure.
Super wicked. Super wicked. So was there a moment when you were like, you know what, this stream? Oh, nice. Special guest, Datsik in the house.
Interview?
Yeah, we're just filming an interview for my interview show. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. You come grab a seat, man.
Come here.
Yeah, come hang out. All right, awesome. Special guest, Datsik in the mix here.
Hey, dude.
What up?
Sweet. Yeah, this is the VIP. It's happy hour here in the VIP at Shambhala.
I'm waiting for a burger.
It's all
a burger.
It's all good times.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. Troy crushed it last night in the village.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, Ambrose, Troy.
Nice to meet you, man.
Cool.
Ambrose.
Datsik.
Oh, Datsik. Yeah, definitely know your stuff. Yeah, man. Cool.
Good times. Good times.
What do you got? What's the interview about?
I just interview people for my YouTube show because I'm just like, I know lots of musicians and we just talk about music and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So was there a moment when you were like, I'm gonna do this professionally? Like, was there a turning point for either of you guys? Was there like a turning point where you're like, you know what, this is gonna go from a hobby to like what I'm gonna do with my life?
To be honest, the quick answer to that is no. Really.
Slow burn,
Yeah,
gradual.
Certainly gradual for me. What about you, mate?
Honestly, it actually started here, Shambhala.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like 100%. I remember watching you play. I was dressed as a ninja and I was posted up on one of these. It was like a post in the village, and I was watching you, and I was watching you play, and I was really, really, really stoked. And I think you played right before Bassnectar, maybe.
Yeah.
It was like, must have been like 8-9 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Like a long time ago.
Probably back in the Fat Conductor days.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, you were playing as Fat Conductor.
The Fat Conductor, yeah, sure. That was like the first thing that you did.
Yeah, that was actually my second alias.
What was the first?
The first alias was when I was 15, and 15, yeah, in Canada. Yeah, it was like it's a really ridiculous alias. It wasn't very well thought out. But yeah, the Fat Conductor was like that came out when I was in a breakdance.
Yeah, that's what I think when I met you or I heard of you for the first time. The Fat Conductor, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a whole different world. There wasn't like YouTube to learn about anything, and we used to be on all these mailing lists, like Yahoo groups, like email lists to discuss about like promos and stuff. Yeah, it was totally different landscape. Oh my goodness, it's Martin.
Stranger.
What's up?
Hey, dude, how's it going?
Stranger. Good to meet you, man. This is just craziness.
I'm good.
Craziness.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, you did a great set last night, man.
Thanks, man.
Oh, absolutely. You fucking killed it, dude.
Yeah, we were out there.
Came in at like 10 p.m. or something yesterday.
No, that's coming
traveling since 5 p.m.
The set went really well, man. I liked that you're leaning more on the mid-tempo vibes. It's really cool. It sounded great on that
Are we still doing interviews?
All right, yeah, we're still doing interviews.
I'm not gonna disturb you.
Hanging out. Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
Have a seat, dude.
Well, yeah.
Say hi. I need to look around, find some people,
Find
the
some
usual
beer.
festival flow thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we're getting ready for Saturday night. It's Saturday night here at Shambhala. There's lots and lots going on. We got Scratch Bastard, Jazzy Jeff, and Mixmaster Mike.
Absolutely. There's Cursor as well from 7. Do you know Cursor?
Yeah, Cursor is really
unbelievable stuff. Yeah.
His collabs with Mr. Bill I really like.
Oh yeah.
Really
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah. That was
I'm surprised. Have you done one with Mr. Bill yet?
No, not yet.
You should, man. You two would be a really good fit.
Yeah, I know. We started working on 2 tunes actually, but it never.
Oh wow! Awesome. Living the life.
Having it large.
Tickets. Yeah. Very, very stoked.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to start a remix for Electricado. Cool. For his outfit with, Mr. Bill and his mate Electricado.
Yeah, Electricado, yeah.
But yeah, we started making a tune together, but it was, for some reason, because it was, I don't know, I find it sometimes working online with someone.
I find it challenging too.
Very difficult, right?
I like to do it just in
sitting in the sharing
I don't like getting
space
homework.
Absolutely.
It feels like homework.
Dude, so much.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you say that.
Yeah.
Because it is a bit like that.
Do it all in one piece, try and get it out clean. and
like sitting in the same rooms, sharing the same studio is so different. You can just like swap, seats. Like one time you're there, and then it's their turn, and it's just sort of like it's more natural.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So, what's your favorite collabs? Any favorite collabs that you've done that were like, really enlightening? Yeah, that really like, people that you've worked with will really like open your mind.
I don't really think I've done many collabs really, but what I can say is that I would love to collab with some people.
The bad part, I think it was like
I always thought it would be really interesting to make a tune with Bill. An idea would be to make a tune with you, by the way.
Yeah, sure. How long? Depends on how long you're in the U.S. for.
I'm still here for another 5 weeks, but
immediately after Burning Man, I'm going to be working on stuff.
Oh, cool.
I'll be in the studio. We have a guest room and stuff too.
Oh, wicked. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, we've been working on some stuff with Funker Buddies together. Come to think of it, I think my favorite collab, and it's one of the only ones that I have done, is Biscuit Reality. Have you heard of Biscuit Reality? Yeah. Well, it's this like totally weird outfit, Funker Buddies, Kevin and me, and we sort of kept it under our hats that it was us. For some reason, we wanted to keep it a secret that it was us.
Cool.
And it was this sort of techno, mystery, but it was it was maybe like tech house kind of music.
Was there Beatles in the titles?
Was that?
Was there Beatles in the track titles?
No.
Beatles?
No.
Okay.
And we would perform in baker outfits.
Baker outfits?
Yeah, we were bakers because it was the Biscuit Reality. Well, baker like confectionery manufacturers.
Sweet. I like it.
That was so good, dude.
I like it.
I'm gonna hook up with you up with some of the tunes. I think
I'd love to
really
check
quality tunes, but
cool.
Yeah, we had to stop at one point.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, man. Yeah, we're just filming a quick little interview, but you should come say hi. This is Tyson Cormack,
everybody.
Promoter and NDP secret agent who organizes political parties by day and techno parties by night. Holding it down in Western Canada. Big up, my brother.
Nice work last night.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks. Yeah, this is awesome. It's a full house here, as you can see. All kinds of DJs. We got Marcus Visionary over here. Yeah, life is good. Life is good. Cool. Yeah, it's just getting increasingly happy.
Oh yeah. So you got to get into Biscuit Reality.
Biscuit Reality.
Definitely a from project. Yeah, for sure.
Super cool. Super cool. Word. Was there any purchase in the last like 12 months under $100 that you really are just like, wow, this thing made my life a lot better?
Wow. Under the $100 from the last year, I can't think of it. I can't really remember that much. What about you?
For me? Yeah. I mean, I don't know about under $100. The camera we're filming this on is actually really amazing. It's a Canon Vixia Mini X, and it's a field recorder that is also a fisheye camera. And I have to do almost no post-processing on these interviews. Like you can see it's automatically correcting the volume levels there. You can see yourself. It's shaped like your pocket, and the battery lasts a really long time. Like if you were to try and film, we're 28 minutes in here. If you were to try and film that on a DSLR, the camera would either overheat or it would be too much memory for the card. So
under $100?
No, it was about $300, but it's really like I have all these DSLR cameras and GoPros and stuff, and they were just so frustrating. But this little guy, like, I carry it around all the time. And you can use, like in the Liquid Stranger interview, at the beginning I cut in a piece of his set, and I used camera audio like from a rave, and it was fine.
Right.
Yeah, it's like really, it's a really,
good, man.
quality.
Let me ask you this question: if you could live any time in history, anywhere in the world, right? Where would you live and when?
I think growing up in Canada currently was very, very nice.
You're from Canada?
I'm Canadian.
Oh
yes.
yeah, sure.
But yeah, so I gotta say I feel very lucky to have been born in Canada. It's a very open-minded society, not a lot of racism, and I think people are really like I got to be exposed to a lot of really cool, interesting things in my education,
How about the time? How about the age? Like, would you want to have lived like some time ago, or maybe in the future sometime?
I mean, I'm curious about the future, but my outlook of the future is pretty bleak, to be honest. I don't know if I've just read too much science fiction, or maybe I'm just overly pessimistic about human nature. But
no,
yeah,
I get you.
I'm actually quite happy. I was born into an excellent family in a really great part of the world, and it's it's allowed me to have like a jump off where I can travel to the U.S., travel to Europe, travel to Australia and Asia. And I think if you go too far in the past, I think I probably would have been burned at the stake for a lot of my opinions.
Yes, of course, yeah. I mean, medieval times would be like burnt instantly.
Yeah,
probably.
Definitely. So
yeah, man.
Dinosaurs would be cool, but they'd probably just eat me.
Well, yeah, you'd be just a snack, maybe. I mean, if I was going to answer that, I was probably going to say that I would really be keen to go in the future a bit, like not too much, like not too far ahead, because then you can never know if life on Earth still exists or not. Like, I mean, 300 years or 2,000 years, you can never know if we'll stay here or not.
Yeah.
My guess would be, I don't know, I wouldn't have a guess, by the way. Yeah, but I would probably go either exactly where I'm from, exactly what time I was born, so because I mean, we lived. How old are you again?
I'm 27, actually.
Oh, you're 27.
Yeah, I'm 27.
Shut up! You're a kid, dude. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and no, I was born like pre-internet era.
Yeah.
And that's really, I kind of like to have been born there, and then we didn't really have this sort of interconnected kind of world that you could post, and before the internet, it's nice to have seen that as well. But I mean, so I'm really happy the way things have turned out, and definitely being born in Eastern Europe and being born in the late 70s, that's good for me. But maybe an interesting idea would be to go like maybe 30 years ahead, and to be born in maybe 2040 or something. That'd be interesting.
That would definitely be interesting.
We're so close to cracking a lot of things. I mean, dude, we're like, people are, teleportation is a thing that is almost happening at the moment. But that's a whole different. It's not really about music though.
I think I love watching a lot of dystopian science fiction, but one thing that I think that they really do not nail in science fiction movies is cyborgs. They're always like cyborgs are like some elite crack squad of commandos or whatever, or else they're like drug dealers with bionic eyes or something. But when you look at the people who actually are getting cyborg modifications, it's usually really rich old people, and I think it's probably going to more likely be used to extend the lives of rich people rather than create like crazy combat dudes that'll be really cool in action movies. And when you they did a head transplant on a monkey recently, and they put a monkey head onto a new body, and they're gearing up. This German doctor is getting ready to do a first human head transplant, which is really a body transplant, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. Is it a body or is it a head?
Yeah, well, it's one fellow who's got a healthy body and his brain dead, and then there's another guy who's got a healthy brain and his body is so jacked that he was willing to undergo the surgery. And this year they're going to attempt switching head. So I think if I were to make a science fiction film, I would want the villain to be this really rich old guy, and his head would be like 300 years old, and he'd be on like a baby's body, and then he'd just have some like robotic cock that's just like permanent Viagra, and he'd be this like just like real asshole like baby with an old guy's head, and he'd just be surrounded by all these women. It'd be a real villain.
Oh yeah, man, that would be a film to watch for sure, huh?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, man.
And he'd be like smoking, like he just doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't get new lungs,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that would be definitely interesting to leave this body, right? I mean, if your whole consciousness and your whole you as you are, all your information, your memories and everything could be sort of put into a program, like a computer software, a computer program, like put in the digital world, then you could just sort of forget about your body and like exist there in a, that would be fucking weird though, hey?
So do you feel that if you were to transmit all the information contained in your mind into a personality construct that would be able to remember everything in your life and would be able to react as you would react, would that be you?
Dude, that's like $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, you cannot know that. And I mean, to that question, my answer is exactly, because I have no idea. And then the other question is if you die and you're put in that environment and in that digital world, do you feel like you're reborn? Is it like you, like after your death, it's like, oh, I died, and then is it the same entity?
I don't think it would be. I think that observer, like there's a point of observation inside of you.
It's another entity with the same setting.
Yeah, I think it would be a construct. But I mean, it would be really useful. Like, I would love to, have a personality construct of like, Miles Davis that I could ask questions in the studio. I could just like go online and instantiate the Miles Davis, personality construct and be like, Miles, this track is missing something, man. Like, can you help me?
Or just
puff a cigarette smoke and come out of the computer and he'd like say something totally genius. It'd be amazing.
Or just give some, I don't know, Ableton tutoring to Mozart and say like, dude, now you're Ableton qualified.
Yeah.
Do you want to make some music?
That would be amazing. That'd be amazing.
Like, imagine that. Like, that would be,
or you could have like a Mozart plugin that you could like collaborate with.
Do you know Tom Possum made a Mozart plugin, I think?
What?
Yeah, but no.
He always makes the best plugins. His Able Tinder one was so funny. So how does the Mozart plugin work?
Basically, it's whenever there's nothing playing in Ableton, a randomly selected Mozart song start playing. So that's it. I know. And it's just basically like slowly fades in, and it's really relaxing. And then once you hit play, it disappears. And then once you stop, it comes back again.
I like listening to Chopin when I'm working. I like listening to Chopin a lot.
Chopin?
Yeah. He's a composer. He wrote all these really gorgeous piano pieces.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah, I think it's like a couple hundred years ago. He wrote all these really amazing solo piano pieces that are just so heartbreakingly beautiful. And I don't know, it's so easy to get caught up in this world of like plugins and sound design and all these things, and to just see just one person just making like these piano melodies just break your heart,
Oh, absolutely.
I just find it so refreshing. It really helps me get back to the roots of what it is that I'm trying to do, start working on the song and not just the mix, And
also I think like there's something really magical about an instrument that doesn't use electricity. Something that's just an acoustic instrument, like a guitar, or the piano is my favorite. Like, I'm really the least sort of magical sort of person like you'll meet. I don't know. But still, I find that when you switch on your computer and then launch one of the doors, and then you start playing with the idea, should I play the piano or some synth, or there's a Facebook message, there's a lot of distraction. All that shit is, I mean, once you sit down in front of the piano, it's just you and that piece of wood, and that's something magical there. I love that.
For sure. Cool. Well, hey, happy hour. I think it's drawing to a close, so we should go use some of these drink tickets.
Exactly, man.
Any parting words, or anything you want to say to our viewers? Anywhere they can catch up with you online?
I love you all, guys. If you definitely go to my website, ambmusic.net, and check out my stuff. And if you like, give us a Facebook like as well. Listen to some stuff on SoundCloud. I love you all. Have a good one. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Peace.
Who the illest?